And hello, everyone. Mark Newstater with eXp Realty. Merry Christmas. I guess it's that time of year. Apparently, Christmas is a week away, Jaden.
Oh my God. I don't know what's going on with I keep seeing these packages arrive from Amazon. And so that's probably a pretty good sign that it's coming. But the fact that Christmas is it's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? It is pretty crazy. Let's get to it. We're going to do, I didn't tell Jaden this. We're going to do this update this week. We'll do one next week. And then we're going to take the week, I guess it would be the week between Christmas and New Year's off. We'll do one more next week, and then we'll see you guys all in the new year. So let's get right to the stats. And same story again this week. Now we're really seeing the decrease in listings coming on the market because we're almost at Christmas, not surprisingly. And so we had 112 new listings come on the market compared to 148 the week before. And if you look back to, the week of just after Remembrance Day in November, we had 194 listings, 195 the week after. So 266 for solds versus 300 last week. So again, that number went down slightly. But not a huge amount. And then our pendings went down to 109 for a total of 375. Net difference of 263. So again, that net difference is still really, really high. And again, I'm going to keep saying this every week just so people understand what I'm saying with net difference is the higher that number gets, the more it's tilted to a seller's market. We only had 44 price reductions. Look at the week again. If we go back 5 weeks or 4 weeks, look at that price reduction number the week after Remembrance Day. That is quite something. A third of the price reductions that we had back in. And interestingly, I mean, we had 282 new listings come on the market back that week after Remembrance Day. 266 this week, so those numbers aren't that far off. But look at the number of price reductions. It's quite something when you look at the numbers. So we had 1,034 new listings on the market on the detached side, and we're down to almost 3,000 total listings. So another, few hundred down, a couple hundred down from last week. So, the story remains the same, really. As a buyer, I'm going to talk a little bit more about buyers and to buyers this week. You really need to get your list together, have a realtor like myself that can go out and show you that home the first day it's on the market. We just firmed up a couple of deals last night. On the listing side, it was a beautiful detached home in Nolan Hill, and it had 36 showings. It had 7 offers. And it sold for $501,000 on a list price of $480. So now I will be very clear though, that is done on purpose. We listed at market value in order to generate multiple offers. So when you list above market value, the odds are you're not going to get those multiple offers. So it certainly is a strategy that I've employed many times this year to help my clients get max value and sometimes over max value for their home. All right, I'm going to show, I got a couple other slides here, Jaden. I think this one is kind of interesting as well. So I shared this on Instagram this morning and wanted to show it to you as well. So this is average days on market. So how long does it take to sell a home in Calgary? And apartment style as of today's date. Apartment style 69 days, row housing 46, semi-detached 49, and detached homes 40. So you just heard how I said we had a detached home in Nolan Hill sell in technically 15 days because we had a 2-week condition period. We had a semi-detached home sell in Cochrane in basically the same amount of time, selling 1 to 2 days on the market. The one in Nolan Hill, we left on from Friday until Sunday afternoon on purpose to get as many people through as possible. And then you ask for any offers that are going to be sent. But so I was just curious, like, what are my stats in 2021 so far? So the Calgary average is I believe it's around 44 days for detached home. My average, and this is not a bragging thing, this is just a strategy thing that I help my clients with. So what would you say my average is in 2021, Jaden?
I'm going to say, just based on, on talking to you on a weekly basis, I'm going to say, if you bring conditions into play, I'm going to say 20 days.
Okay, well, that's a little aggressive. I had 2 listings, both of which took longer to sell than all of the rest of the listings. But we were at 36 days. Now that's between apartments. I've had listings in all these segments this year, so we had 36 days on market. And what do you think our our average sale to list price ratio? So what percentage of list price did my clients get on average in 2021?
It's got to be 98% plus for sure, the way you've been going.
Yeah, so 99. Yeah. So 99% of list price, 36 days on market. And again, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I can help you. And in many cases right now, we're going to get above asking price. And when I say asking price, and sorry, I'm a little bit digressing here, but I need to really explain that. I'm not listing your home low. Nobody wants to list their home low. We're not in Toronto or Vancouver yet. We're listing at market value. But the strategy we employ, especially on the detached side of things and semi-detached, to maximize internet views, showings, and then leave it open for a couple of days before we look at offers, is really, really the route to go there. So just found that interesting, and I thought I would compare it against my averages for 2021. All right, so let's take a look at interest rates. So we're going to do that, and then I want to show one more article that I found very interesting that we'll kind of close off today's show with. But Jaden, talk about rates this week. Any big changes?
Yeah, I would say the biggest change is in that variable high ratio, and you're not seeing it much because it was at 1.15 on a 5-year last week, and it's up to 1.2. But what we saw is that we had several lenders that were at prime minus 1.3, which would make that 1.5. Most of them have pulled back to prime minus 1.1. So there's kind of 2 lenders that I work with on a regular basis that are in that prime minus 1.25 area, at 1.2. So I think that's kind of the big change. We've seen slight upticks in the fix kind of across the board, but it's that variable discount that is starting to get sucked back. So if you're in that prime minus 1.3, I have a few clients on a 5-year at prime minus 1.5. You're in a very, very good spot. So yeah, not huge changes, just kind of incremental things. And I think that's probably what we're going to see through the beginning of 2022 as well. But one of the things that I really wanted to mention, when we look at that fixed conventional on a 5-year and then that fixed uninsurable, so let's talk about the difference between those quickly. Both of those require you to put 20% down. The big difference with the uninsurable is that there's 3 ways, generally speaking, that you would become uninsurable. You are a rental, which the rates will be slightly higher than that. You are refinancing, which means you've owned your house for a while and you want to take some equity out. And the third way that I want to talk about is that you're doing a 30-year amortization. So why would you do that? Why would you do that if the rate is higher than the fixed conventional at 25 years? Well, here's why. If you have $400,000 worth of mortgage, that 25-year insurable conventional, what we call, your payment a month is about $1,810. If you go uninsurable and bump that up to 30 years, your payment's gone to about $16, $17. So you have monthly payments of approximately $200 less a month. And so, the counter argument to that is, well, I'm going to be paying more interest over time but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what is your monthly payment now, right? So if you want to minimize things over the next 5 years, because once you get to a 25-year amortization, when your term is up in 5 years, you're back in the insurable realm because you're at 25 years, right? So really great strategy for people who are worried about their monthly payments now and have a considerable down payment as well.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that is interest rate. And I want to show, to close off today, I wanted to show this article that's kind of been circulating. about average home prices in 2022. So this article came out. So Royal LePage, not my brokerage, but they're a large Canadian brokerage, and they always come out with forecasts. And I'm not going to go through this whole article, but basically what they're saying here is in Calgary, the aggregate price of a home in the fourth quarter of 2022 is forecast to increase 6% year over year to 610.6. So, you know, that's interesting, right? Because I'm going to make that a little bigger if I can. There we go. There we go. All right. So you can see that a little bit easier. So the, you know, this year, if we look at what the detached home prices have increased by, you know, let's call it 9% on average year over year. So I think this is very, very achievable. You know, the question will be, I will get is, well, why would I sell now? Why wouldn't I wait? Well, the home that you're looking at upgrading to, if you're moving inside of Calgary, is also going to increase in price. So it's really a conversation we have to have. We literally can run numbers, do the calculations. Does it make sense to wait? Does it make sense to do it now? All we know is right now, there's never been a better time to sell, and probably the last since 2014 and maybe even 2008, depending on what your situation is. But, you know, I think this is very achievable. What they're talking about is, as Jayden and I know, you know, they're talking about how the energy sector increasing, like how it's doing better, is actually helping home sales. And the Omicron variant is forcing employers to, you know, delay coming back to work. And so people are again saying, well, if I'm working from home, I want more space. I believe that. You know, our Calgary Real Estate Board, and this is a much longer conversation, but our Calgary Real Estate Board chief economist says what drives real estate market growth is job creation. Now, we've seen some of that in the tech sector, and I'm certainly no job expert or an economist, but I find it interesting that they're basing the 6% increase on the rebound of the energy sector. And I don't know, Jayden, what do you think?
No, I feel it. I totally feel it. I'm talking a lot more to oil and gas guys who maybe downsized a couple of years ago when they got crunched, that maybe bit off a bit more than they can chew, downsized, are in a comfortable position again, want to get back up. They don't maybe want to bite as big as they did last time, but they sure feel comfortable that their, you know, their family is stable. They feel comfortable with the way the economy is going moving forward, and they want to get into a house that can go with their family, right? So yeah, definitely feeling that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then there's some weight to that, and that's good to hear. You know, certainly anecdotally, we're seeing that then, and that's fantastic. And maybe 6% is light. I mean, if we did 9%, you know, kind of in that number, can we do 9% again this year? Hard to say. All I know is if you bought your house, you know, after 2014, 2015. You know, you're in a very good position right now. That's all we know is right now today what the increases were. But great info, Jayden, and you know, reach out to him with any mortgage questions. Obviously, I'm your real estate guy, and stay warm out there. And we will see you one last time before the new year next week. So, Jayden, you have a good one, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, you too, buddy.